Coming up,
I grew up and I never had access to a laptop or any of those fancy stuff. Matter of fact, my dad couldn't even pay my school fee. In 5 years, I'm supposed to create a product that is going to reach 4 million kids.
hey everyone, so I'm here at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, Kingston's preferred choice, and this week on the Trailblazers, we have the inspiring story of a young woman who grew up in rural Jamaica in very humble circumstances, but has managed to do well and is now reaching many of the nation's youth that are living in rural Jamaica, helping them to bridge the digital divide. Her name is Christine Daley, and she's the founder and the CEO of Daley Konnect. She has an ambitious target of reaching 4 million youth globally in 5 years. Tune in to find out just how she's doing this and her rules for living without limits.
Especially those from rural communities, because you through your Daley Konnect, you're reaching them, you're giving them that opportunity as well through getting that internet access to be able to see the world. Because believe it or not, a lot of people, we take that internet that we have now for granted in the city life, not realizing that so many persons in the rural Jamaica still don't have that access.
Stay tuned.
Thanks to our partners, the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, Kingston's preferred choice. Stars Publicity for all your public relations and publicity needs. Get noticed and align with the stars. DG's Health and Wellness Center, operated by certified nutritionist and health columnist Donovan Grant. Contact them today for all your weight loss and other nutritional needs. And Care is Beauty for all your skincare goals and more. Get 5% off each purchase from them using the discount code TAMARA5OFF. Learn more details on all these partners as well as links to their website by visiting the description box on the Trailblazers with Tamara McHale YouTube channel.
What's your word to them?
I would say to fight. Fight for your dreams, fight for your purpose.
A life that inspires you, that motive that you aspire to be.
I'm meaningful and critical. It's not a waste time movement here, man.
In my humble opinion, is become very comfortable with yourself.
Very important. The saying in Jamaica, one hand can't clap.
You forgive yourself for allowing people to mistreat you.
Disciplines that we need to embody.
You just have to work at it and be committed. Everyone.
And scary to have all of that fall away from you. And you have to celebrate those wins. Work with fitness clients.
For guidance, rely on Christ for support.
And no rush. I did it. I made my move into entrepreneurship at 40.
So scared that when
what last comments would you want to share with
you have your core values, you do the right things, it'll fall in place for you.
Christine, it is a pleasure to have you joining us on the Trailblazers. And girl, you are looking fabulous. I love your earrings. As I mentioned off air, I want to steal them.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. So, we're jumping right into your story because, a friend of mine recommended Christine for the Trailblazers. And he was like, you have to have her. She has an amazing story. She's a young woman doing amazing things. And so you came from very good recommendations. I was like, okay, let me hit this girl up. And trust me, I want you to share your story with our Trailblazers today. So first and foremost, you're jumping into things. Tell us about yourself. For those who may not know you, what do you do? And that sort of a thing.
So I'm Christine Daley. I'm from humble beginnings. I'm actually from Green Island, Hanover, tiny little parish all the way in West. And here I am in the big city. The journey to get here have not been a smooth one. I am a past student of Manning's High School, move on to UTech. Now I'm doing my master's with UWI. I am a project accountant by profession, as in I work in finance, group finance in corporate, and I'll call myself a serial entrepreneur because business have been in my DNA and I just keep at it. I'm on my third business. I have not considered the others as failures, but it's just really what works and what takes off, and tapping into market opportunities and see what the customers need, demand, and how I can fulfill that need.
Definitely. And you mentioned Green Island. I actually know Green Island in Hanover, but it's because my uncle lives in Green Island, Hanover, and I visited there once when I was like, I think I was probably like 11 or 12 years old. But I remember it's very quiet. And you mentioned a very small community, very rural community, but very nice. I actually enjoyed my time there. But in terms of, moving and getting a little deeper into your story, so I was looking at something that you mentioned, that when you grew up in Hanover, you grew up in poverty, right? You didn't even have like certain amenities for yourself. So tell us what the situation was like. Did you realize at the time that you were poor?
Yes, we were poor in the sense that, and it was something around us. My dad has a business. He has a bar. And yes, it would be nice to say, oh, he has a business, but I've seen him struggle. And I learned a very valuable lesson from that. One of the key things that helped me or inspire me to do what I'm doing today is the fact that I grew up and I never had access to a laptop or any of those fancy stuff. Matter of fact, my dad couldn't even pay my school fee to get into high school. But from an early age, I know that, or I was told that education is the key. So I put my head to my book. I always get good grades. I pass for the school of my choice, and I just keep milking the education train from there to where I am today. One of a shocking experience that I had is in high school. I never had a laptop or a tablet or any of those stuff growing up, and I shied away from IT and chose Geo because I don't have one at home and I know nothing about it, and I'm not going to put myself to the challenge in high school to even learn. But when I reach at UTech, then I'm faced a challenge. You cannot outrun this. And I remember almost failing IT and I have to go to the library to teach myself Windows, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel.
Wow.
I remember one day I was in library and we were doing some group research and I was there trying to Google. You don't want nobody to know that you really don't know about the computer. And I'm Googling, and then the guy came to me from my group and he's like, which page did you find the information on? And I'm like, Google have more than one page. So I never forget that experience, even to know where I have been working for over almost 15 years and just having the luxury. I cannot imagine maybe kids from similar background as my own in rural Jamaica never touching a computer.
Wow.
Never knew the power of connectivity. Because you just don't have it. You don't grow up around it. You might see it on TV, but you never have the luxury of even touching it.
That's so true, and that's a reality even today, unfortunately, for many, because I myself grew up in rural Jamaica. I didn't have a computer at home, but when I went to boarding school at Westwood, we had the computer labs, so I would use those. But what you just mentioned is actually, unfortunately, still the reality of so many. Okay, so I like how you mentioned though that despite you growing up in that situation, and it's very ironic, may I add, that your business, because you're the founder and CEO of, let me get that right, of Daley Konnect, right? So you're the founder and CEO of Daley Konnect. And Daley Konnect, I understand, has to do with IT and technology, right? So it's very interesting. It's very interesting that you just shared that story. So tell us, how is it that this young lady that did not first and foremost have access, then when she had access, had no idea pretty much how to use the computers, and now you're in this field? Tell us, what does your business currently do?
All right, and I went home one weekend and I was passing some time outside and I heard a voice, put the business here. And I just get up running. The year before I was trying to put it together. I couldn't come up with name. Everything was just so hard. And that's why I believe strongly in God's divine timing. And it happened. And as the name state, Daley Konnect, which is my last name. So I know right away I'm building something that is a legacy, generational wealth. It's that deep and personal to me. So Daley Konnect is an e-commerce and e-learning hub. E-commerce in the fact that we're tapping into a market opportunity. So I live in Kingston. We both live in the city. We have traveled, and persons have the power of credit card and to shop on the internet and all these things. But still, in rural Jamaica, persons still don't have that access. You are on social media all the time. People want to buy things off Wish and Shein, and can you believe they're still sending these things through the post office that take forever? Or if they even want to pay for Netflix or any of these things, you have to ask your friend abroad or in Kingston. So they don't have connectivity in that nature and that form, and that inspires me to go back home and to create something that can empower them to know that, one, here is an access point and to build from there.
Yes.
Two, the personal part of this brand for me is the e-learning hub. The e-learning hub is a free space that I have created inside the brick and mortar shop that I have built. And these tablets, kids have access to come in and to use them to utilize and access Google Classroom, to do school projects, or even to surf the net. When I started out the plan, I wanted it would have been an additional income stream in the business. But when I think further, it's actually an initiative to actually give back to my community. Going back to my story, if one child coming in over the whole lifetime of the business and get to learn using one of those tablets, I have made a difference.
Wow, and you certainly have and are doing that. And I really like the name. As you mentioned it again, it resonated with me in the moment when you said Daley Konnect, building a legacy. And I was like, yes. I mean, I understood obviously the connect part in terms of connect and the internet connection, but the daily, even though it's DALEY, but the play on words of daily. Yes. So daily connecting, having that access. So you are certainly right. And I like how you mentioned in terms of divine timing and how crucial that is. We're going to touch on that a little bit later. I wanted to zoom in a bit more on your personal journey, because we've been touching on the business side of what you're doing, where you mentioned in terms of the fact that you didn't have certain things, but at the same time you have advanced throughout your educational journey thus far. So tell us, persons may ask, so how did you do it? Because you yourself said your dad didn't even at one point have sufficient funds for high school. So, I mean, did you get lucky? What happened?
There is no luck. It's straight hard work. So, one thing about my dad is that through his discipline and parenting, he have taught me, it has actually forced me to be independent. So when I was in 10th grade, to ask daddy for money sometimes it usually become hard, because I have to, one, prove what I needed for, and we go through a whole long process. And being a teenager, I was just fed up with it. I want my own money.
Yes.
So I always go to the supermarket for him, because I told you he has a bar, so I'm there frequent to get stuff for the business. And I asked him if I could start working part-time. So in the evenings after school, I would rush from all the way in Savlamar straight to Green Island and work from 4 to 7 in the evening. And then on the weekends, I'll also work. So I've been working since I've been in 10th grade.
Wow.
Working, I knew after high school that my father's dream was for me to go to university. Of course, we never had a fund. Education fund put down anywhere. Mm-hmm. So what I did, I got the inspiration from one of my teachers, Mr. Blight, and he supported us with the application process. I got student loan. for about 2 years of my education, and I applied to UTech, one institution, and I'm all the way in Hanover. I'm not sure I got in with all these kids in Kingston from all these other prominent schools. And my mom told me one day I need to go Kingston and check to find out, because I'm not, everybody getting their letters and I'm not getting anything. And I went to UTech that day and I went to admin, and the lady's like, we cannot find your application.
What?
And honestly, I stand in admin office at Bizard UTech and I just start bawl. Because I had to go all the way back, and I'm an Aries. I'm an all or nothing person, and there are times when I just make impulse and I risk it all. It's the only university I never even applied for community college, because I am getting in UTech because that's what I want. So I never apply anywhere else, not out of negligence, but the fact that when I set my sights on anything, I go straight for it. And I just start crying, and she just take empathy and hand me back the application form and said, fill this out. And right there, and then I got in.
Wow.
My journey at UTech wasn't easy either, because as I told you that I got loan for 2 years, and then after the other 2 I was on my own. So just as God has always worked it out, I applied for a scholarship, totally forgot about it, and I got a recruitment scholarship from Digicel. If you're making the grades, you get the scholarship. I was making the grades, I got the scholarship as an intern, and your friend that you refer, he employed me full time. Yes. Full time was my first corporate job, full time. I went as an intern and I give it my everything. Full-time work, full-time school, because UTech wasn't changing my program. And maybe that's where I build a tolerance now, because now I'm running a business, I'm doing my master's, and I have a full-time job. And I balance it all. It starts from those days where you just have to do what you got to do.
Definitely.
So there was no magic along the way. It's just straight hard work and dedication.
And that, Christine, I really do appreciate that. I really appreciate your authenticity in sharing that. And that also is the reality of many others out there. But the thing what separates the winners, I always say, are those who are determined, those who no matter what push through, those who are, who persevere, put in the work as you have been doing, and decide that, as you rightly mentioned, you are laser focused, you know what you want, you go after it. So now we're going to look at, in terms of the qualities and the attributes then of having that winner mentality, because how is it that you were able to be laser focused on anything that you want to do and stick to it? And what would you say to somebody who is often very distracted, don't have a sense of purpose, but yes, do they want to achieve and do well?
I don't have a fallback plan. I don't have a fallback plan, so therefore I have only a plan B. And by that, I mean I don't have anybody to bail me out. I know from an early age that I have to save my own self. And I'm not saying that from the essence that I don't have the support of my family and friends. I do, but we both know that in this world, money is what pushed a lot of things. I never had that, and I know that the only way to get it is that you have to buy the sweat of your brow. I don't have a fallback plan, and therefore I know that whatever it is that I'm doing, I have to give it my all. I am very organized. As I mentioned, I'm a project manager, so I plan everything that I do. I plan to the T. I have a vision board. I have for years and years before it even become popular. Every year I write my goals down, and it's not on a wall, it is in my journal. So I'll open the middle of my journal every year and I put a vision board there. So it's always in my bag, it's always on the go. So every week or every other week, I'll take even 5 minutes or 2 minutes to open up and to just look where I am compared to where I want to go. And also, I don't just put the pictures on and just visualize what I need. I also create an action plan. Every year I create an action plan. How can I get from point A to point B?
Wow.
And it's just planning, organizing, checking along the way, and ensuring that I'm getting closer to what I need.
Definitely. And I really do appreciate that, because I can tell you that sometimes, and I'm going to admit it, I'm somebody that person may look and be like, wow, you know, you're doing these things, but sometimes I'm not as organized. I think I need to have a little bit more of your organizational skills. So I really like that for you, where you mentioned in terms of the fact that it's not just writing down the goals, it's not just putting up the vision board, but it's also being action oriented and taking the necessary steps to manifest that into reality.
And a very common quote that we've seen on the internet all the time: any goal not written down is a wish. Just write it down. Just write it down. Just keep looking at it. Sometimes you'll lose focus, because let's admit it, life does get in the way at times. So it's not all every week I get to look back at my goals, but they're also here. But they are written down, and I know that at some point I need to get back to my center.
Okay, Christine, that is amazing. And girl, you are, by the way, I love how you speak. You have poise, diction. You're definitely a woman of purpose and who knows how, knows herself, self-aware. So I looked at, in terms of the business and the amazing things that you're doing. Not only are you reaching rural youth back in Hanover, daily connecting them to, the internet and all of that, but you have this ambitious plan of 4 to 4 million. Expound on that. What does that mean?
All right, so as I mentioned, Daley Konnect is not the only business I've started. In 2017, I was selected as a YLAI Fellow, Young Leaders of America Initiative.
Yeah.
And the brand that I had created around that time was called Doodle Surprise. So it focused, as you know, I have a passion for education. It focused on STEM education. And we were able to go into the US, 4 states, and was able to showcase our brand as a social initiative and just liaise with other entrepreneurs across the Caribbean. And one of the things that I noticed based on where I was placed in San Diego is that they have makerspace there. I'm not seeing any makerspace in Jamaica.
Wow.
So the inspiration behind Daley Konnect is actually intertwined with that brand, because one, getting it out in the market was hard because there was a curve when it comes to technology. So the pandemic come and we're now able, every kid have to go online for e-learning. Launching the brand at the time was hard because how would I reach the kids? Because, in Jamaica, where there's tech, but it's more uptown and in the city and not so much in the rural. And it's really the kids that I wanted to reach. So it would have been costly, but the market is shifting. It is one of my big dream that I am creating the first maker space in the Caribbean. And what I mean by a maker space is a STEM space where kids can come in and they can use our tools or internet or computers to just focus on science, technology, engineering, and maths. A center that they can come and they can create whatever their amazing brain inspire them to do. And not only of course, it would be good to locate here in Jamaica, but the reach is not only for Jamaica, but also the Caribbean. So the 4 to 4 million is a goal that I've set that in 5 years, I'm supposed to create a product that is going to reach 4 million kids. One other thing that I have been working on under the Doodle Surprise brand is an app, an augmented reality app. So that I hope to actually create and get it out there. It's amazing. I can't wait to share it with the world.
That is amazing. And I mean, looking at that goal, it might seem like, wow, 4 million in 5 years. But, you know, something tells me that you have that tenacity, you have that, you know, stick-to-itiveness, and you also have the resourcefulness to make that happen. So I have no doubt where that is concerned. So we are winding down. You wanted to add something?
Yes, there is a brand that I've been eyeing. There is a brand called Qualcomm. I'm not sure how much persons are familiar with Qualcomm, but Qualcomm makes about 95% of SIMs that are in our phones.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
No, because they're not in the Caribbean.
Oh.
And while being in San Diego, I get to go into their headquarters and look around, and I'm like, I want to get a partnership with Qualcomm.
All right. So if just by
so that has been on my vision board.
If just by any chance the Trailblazers were a young community, but you never know, it could be one person from Qualcomm that just so happens, or somebody that knows somebody from Qualcomm, give Christine a call and make it happen. But we have no doubt that it will. Just reach out to them too. You know, you are very, you know, be brave. You're very brave. You go after what you want. So reach out to them. All right, Christine, I like the fact where you mentioned that you don't have a fallback plan, that knowing where you're coming from, that you have to do well, right? And so as we wrap things up, I want you to share with aspiring trailblazers, especially those from rural communities, because you, through your, you know, Daley Konnect, you're reaching them, you are giving them that opportunity as well through getting that internet access to be able to see the world. Because believe it or not, a lot of people, we take that internet that we have now for granted in the, you know, in the city life, not realizing that so many persons in the rural Jamaica still don't have that access. And so that's a real issue. It's a pressing issue, and we're happy that you are being a social entrepreneur and helping to solve that issue, while of course also growing your business. All right, Christine. So, I mean, we've been having the discussion, and you know, a little birdie told me that you actually took a leap of faith, you know, and you stepped away from a corporate job that was very near and dear to you, but at the same time, you realized that you wanted to focus more on your passion. Why did you do that? Because some people would look on and be like, you know, you're walking away from security and stability for, you know, an unknown and an uncharted territory. So tell us why, and how do you navigate such decisions?
I think it first starts with a mindset of abundance. I believe that there are a lot of opportunities out there. And I remember one of my mantra for this year especially is no limits. All right, so there is this line in my journal that I have been using from last year, that the only limits that exist are the only ones you believe. And honestly, every time I get scared, because as much as I step out, I'm still human. So there is always fear at play. And I remind myself the only limits are, even when I shy down from an opportunity, the only limits that exist are the ones that you believe. So armed with faith, armed with the fact that I am a creator, a child of a king, I just step out, trusting and believe that there's abundance in everything that I do and there are no limits, and I just keep pushing forward.
Definitely. No limits, keep pushing forward. I love it. All right, so if you want to just share with our aspiring trailblazers, especially those who are, you know, from rural communities that want to thrive, that want to do well, but maybe they're looking on and feel like they don't have any links, they don't have any connections. And so how can they push forward to make their dreams a reality like you have so far?
So the first thing I would say to trailblazers out there who are aspiring for greatness, the first thing you have to do is believe in yourself. Never let your current situation determine your future. There is always the possibility of change, but the first start is with you. You have to believe that you have the potential to grow. You have to, one, grow to build a relationship with yourself and love yourself and know that there is a creator, there's a bigger power out there that is there to support you. You may not have the support of family and friends or money, but trust and believe that, one, you have a powerful brain in between your ears. And if you stick to it, as I always have, education was all I had growing up in Green Island. And some people might say, oh, they're not smart or whatever. It's not about smart, it's about being dedicated. I knew that all I had, and I milk that to the T. And it has taken me this far, even where further than money could have. So believe in yourself, trust in the process, and just go after what you need.
Wow, you hear that? Just go after it, believe in yourself, trust in the process, go after. I love those words of inspiration. Christine Daley, founder and CEO of Daley Konnect, a former Young Leaders of the America Initiative. By the way, that's an initiative of the U.S. Embassy here. And we just laud you for what you are doing, laud you for not only being a successful young woman, but also giving back to the nation's youth, especially those in rural communities. And we wish you continued success. And remember that representative from Qualco, do reach out to her. By the way, if persons want to get in contact with you, how can they do that? Send you a DM on Instagram, how?
Or social is at Daley Konnect.
Okay.
So Daley Konnect is the word.
The word, okay. So just go on social media, look for Daley Konnect. So thank you so much, Christine. And you are definitely a trailblazer in your community and in the nation, and continue to shine.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.